slightly quicker to anger and might accidentally run over your foot with her car if you mess up her Starbucks. Somewhere in Denver at this very moment, there's a barista on crutches who will pick the road.
That's not true.
Lawyers make legally, we can't say that. The beauty of this is that neither one believes the other is inferior in any way. Quite the contrary. They both recognize the value in their differences and appreciate how it only adds to the strength of their unity. And despite their differences, they are united by a solid foundation of core values and beliefs. Anyone who does CrossFit will tell you repeatedly, even if you don't ask, that a strong body starts with a strong core, and the core of their relationship is as strong as they get. At their core, they believe in authenticity over impression. They value joy over money. They prefer the experience to the material. They understand the innate value of nonsense and the importance of laughter, and refuse to get bogged down by the self-inflicted burden of expectation. They understand that you cannot truly love somebody else until you love yourself. They do not need each other. This sounds contrary to a modern-day wedding canon, but it only solidifies their marriage. They both understand true love and happiness can only come from within and must be shared, not taken. And finally, above all, they believe in the power of family. They believe in you. By blood or by choice, you are all family, and you all have contributed in your own unique way to help create the amazing couple you see before you. In that spirit, they requested to give their wedding vows to each other in private, preferring instead to use this time to express how these contributions have affected them, both in their lives and throughout their marriage. If you would like to express contribution.
All right, well, thanks for coming out, guys. This is intermission. Like Brandon said, we wanted to take some time this morning privately, and we wrote vows to each other, and we read those, and they were awesome, and neither of us cried at all. Plain and dry and simple, but I want to spend this time kind of sharing the effect all of you have had on us and kind of how that's going to translate into what our view of marriage is. And so that kind of starts off with a fun fact that I learned not too long ago, just a couple weeks ago, actually about airplanes. So when airplanes fly, let's say a plane's taking a flight from Denver to New York. Over the course of that 4-hour flight, in terms of that plane being on a direct exact course for that runway, you think maybe out of that 4-hour flight, maybe like 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half before it lands, something like that. That's how often that plane's on an exact perfect track. But in fact, the last 7 seconds before that plane touches down on the runway is the only time in that flight the plane's on the exact perfect path to that runway. All the while autopilot's adjusting and making corrections for everything while you're going along the way, and that's exactly how life works. And so for us, the way we kind of view that is, you have a set core of values and principles that you carry with you, and life's going to kind of throw you curveballs and throw you haymakers and knock you off, but your values and principles are kind of keeping you in line. So what we kind of want to do is just share a couple of those values, because about a year ago we took some time to write our values down. And look at where those came from our families and how that translates into marriage. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off, and something that's really important to me for values is taking the risk to express yourself and actually be truly alive. Sometimes we're really worried about what other people are going to think of us if we say something, or like, oh, do people care what I wear, or if I just make this dumb joke, things like that. And another way I really look at that is kind of like share your shame. And I know my family growing up, my parents and Casey and I would do full moon frenzy. So every full moon when we were kids, we would do something crazy like go see a midnight movie or have cool snacks. But most memorable one, we all ran outside in the snow. We stuck our butts in the snow and ran back in the house. So this whole concept of share your shame, that kind of hits me a lot as we move forward into this whole marriage deal, and really taking the risk with each other to kind of express what we really value and just express our opinions as individuals, because that's going to help us grow stronger and grow closer together. So that's kind of my first big thing.
So one of the principles that I was forced to write down when I came up with it was, and I learned this from both my parents and really my whole family, is that I am responsible for my own happiness, and nobody has the power to make me feel anything that I don't want to. So I was a bratty little kid, which some people have attested to already, and I would get into these horrible moods, and my response would be to give my family the silent treatment, which I didn't realize is probably what they wanted. tell me I could just choose to snap out of it if I wanted and have fun instead. And it took me most of my life to realize how powerful that was and how much power you have over your own feelings. And I know now that it's all on me and nobody else and not defined by condition. So Tyler is not responsible for my happiness. I truly believe that if I'm the best person I possibly can be, and if I choose to not let circumstance affect me, it'll only strengthen our marriage. In sickness and in health, when we're rich or poor, when Tyler makes us watch Pumping Iron for the 3rd time in 2 weeks, I will make the best of it.
The other thing I want to touch on, another value that I've got written down is giving energy to your relationships, and that's really something I want to carry forward into our lives together. Something I've definitely learned from my parents and my sister Casey. You know, my mom especially, I got it from her. She wants to make conversation with every single server we've ever had, or anyone like running the valet or whatever. Where are you from? What are you all about? And she just really genuinely cares about people as people. And my dad's one of the most generous people I've ever met. And Casey just loves to goof around with everybody. No matter who you are, Casey's ready to have a good time. So I think it's ironic when we start to get bogged down by work or all these other things, or just life in general. The people we love the most tend to get our worst energy sometimes. You know, when you come home from a long day, you're wiped out, you just like, you expect that person to be there for you when you're feeling crummy, but on the other side of it, you know, you really want to give your best energy to the people that matter most to you. So that's something I really want to carry forward into how we're doing it, because I learned that from my family, and giving good energy to people, and I want to give that to you the most.